Welcome back to the channel. So out here at the Old Spanish Treasure Cave here. So we're going to be taking a guided tour and see what this one's about.
Oh, I forgot my keys. I'll have to get them. All right. Do you know anything at all about the Old Spanish Treasure Cave?
Not this cave in particular. No, I don't know.
All right.
I don't know anything.
The whole history of the place starts long before it was part of the U.S. Back in the early 1500s, this whole area was claimed by Spain. And they claimed part south too into Texas and Mexico. And the legend starts when there was a group of conquistadors coming across the Ozarks. They were pulling a little bit of the treasure with them. They had split off from a bigger group. And they got to this area and they had a big snowstorm. So the carts were breaking down, the horses were dying. They were looking for a place they could shelter in. They found the cave. They went inside, found this big room we call the council room. And that's where they camped.
Okay.
And I'll show you the council room
Cool.
when they're inside. And while they were there, they had the idea they're losing carts and horses, so they're going to hide the treasure somewhere in the cave and then come back for it later after they hook back up with the bigger group. So that's what they did. They hid it in the cave, drew a little treasure map, put that with their logs and ledgers, and then they got comfortable. They found this place off the council room that had a hole in the ceiling, so when they started fires, smoke would billow out the side of the mountain, and that's how they got caught. They hadn't been real nice to the Indians and the tribes as they were coming up through the Ozarks, and there was one that was really tracking them down. Saw the smoke, swooped down the mountain, killed all the conquistadors, all except for at least one got away, maybe two. They hid in the back of the cave until the Indians had left. Then they came out, all the horses were gone, all the carts were gone, so no way they're going to catch the bigger group now. So they hid the entrance to the cave, piled it up with rocks, moved a big rock over in front of the main entrance, and then they made their way all the way back to Spain. They never came back for the treasure. So the treasure and the cave stayed hidden for 350 years.
Wow.
And then an old man from Madrid showed up. He had old maps of the area so he could find the cave in the first place. And then once he did, he had a little treasure map, and he would start up the first treasure hunt. So he hired a couple of guys from a little town up the road. And back then it wasn't Gravett, Arkansas, it was Nebo, N-E-B-O, Arkansas. And they were looking for a horseshoe or hoof print carved in the bluff, and that would tell them where the cave was. They found it, dug down, found the big rock, moved it out of the way, and there was the entrance. So they dug for the old man for about a year and a half, and then he became very ill and had to leave the area. But before he left, he paid him good money in advance to keep digging, and he also gave him a little map, not to the X marks the spot, but to a certain distance into the cave, and then an address so that they could write him when they got there, and he would come back or send somebody else back to finish up the hunt. He never came back. He never gave anybody his name, and that would have been the end of the story, except Paul and Tracy found a video that told them that the old man had moved to a place called Paul's Valley, Oklahoma. Have you ever been?
No.
Never know? Okay. Well, it's south of Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Out there on 35 on the rolling Oklahoma plains. And went there and found the old cemetery. Found the old man's grave. Here lies a wayfaring stranger from Madrid, Spain. Gave a good description of the old man in case his family ever showed up. No name on the tombstone. Never gave his name to anybody.
Wow.
And that's the last place that the treasure map was known to exist. Paul's Valley, Oklahoma. Now, as we go into the cave, I'll be telling you about another treasure hunt that happened, and the one that's still going on today, because we're convinced that the treasure is still hidden in the cave. And we also believe that the conquistadors carved a map into this piece of sandstone. All right, you see a map? Maybe.
Um.
Right
Oh,
here.
yes, I do see the
So
lines.
this would be where the entrance is, and you can see how it's been chiseled out of the rock. And it
Right.
follows the same path and pattern we'll take going into the cave, the main tunnel. With this being where the big council room is,
Okay.
area off the council room. And you can see all kinds of side tunnels and side rooms, possibly chiseled out of this thing too.
Mm.
But after 500 years, rain, hail, sleet, and snow, and wear and tear,
Right.
no X marks the spot on this map. All right.
And this is the entryway as
Yes,
found?
sir.
Okay.
There are two of them right here. There's another one right up there.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'll let you walk up that way when we're out of this place, and you'll be able to see it. You'll actually be able to see it from inside here, about halfway to this cradle. Now, if you could walk to where that rail starts, I've
Yes,
got to
sir.
get the door and some more
Okay.
lights. And look to your left, right where that little bend is. Watch your head.
Yeah.
That's another entrance. Right there.
And that's a natural entrance?
It looks like one that the rock could be rolled in front of. Possibly. A big rock. Now this is a unique cave in that you walk up into it. Most caves you walk straight in or go down steps.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a maze cave. So there are going to be a whole lot of these side tunnels and side rooms. And we'll be going into a few of them. This one branches into three directions. Two of them dead end, and one of them they're still looking at.
Nice.
Plus, there are three levels to this cave.
Oh, wow.
So there's a level of rooms and tunnels above us, and then a level of wet rooms underneath us. So there's a big lake, pools all over the place, three natural springs. I'm going to show you one of them.
Awesome.
And then we'll be on this one level,
Okay.
and I'll show you some of it. So let's head up. Watch your head. And you can touch these walls.
Mm-hmm.
They're man-made. A little cricket.
Oh, yep.
Hot dog. I'll make a cave cricket. Now I'll have to watch out for sure. Now, do you know what kind of rock this is?
I do not.
It's limestone. Limestone's a sedimentary rock, sort of in layers. And at one time this was an inland ocean. And as the water receded, all the plants and animals died, went down to the silt,
Right.
and made this hard rock. And right there, see some of the minerals seeping through the rocks.
Yeah, the calcites.
Yeah. And that's a flow stone. Flow stone is made when water and the minerals trickle along the walls and make that flat against the wall kind of finish. Little flying things up there too. Saw that. I'm seeing a lot more little insects and things. It's cool. There it is. And do you know what you call these water droplets that hit you on the head?
Stalactites.
You call them a cave kiss.
Oh, okay.
Water
okay.
droplets.
The water droplets.
And I
Yeah.
hope they're good. I hope they're good luck because I get kissed all the time. But we haven't had much rain here in the past 2 months. If they didn't tell you, it's been dry. We're in a severe drought now.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
And since this was an inland ocean at one point, I'm going to show you some of these too. That's a fossil.
Mm-hmm.
That's a trilobite right there. And there's some inside the cabin about the size of my palm. And I'm going to show you some other fossils as
Cool.
we go through here. This one's extinct now, but it's a lot like today's horseshoe crab. So let's walk in here. Watch your head. It opens up though after you're in. And you want to look back that way.
Oh, wow.
And if you're taking pictures of this, it's probably a better picture without my flashlight. But I'll put it up there if you
Yeah.
want. Now this is called the Bridal Veil. It's also called Cave Bacon in some caves too. But it's an onyx formation made when water comes trickling down through the rocks and then hits the open air. It makes this drapery kind of look. And you see these drips overhead right here? They're dripping down to this formation,
Oh, yep.
which is dripping right there,
Which is
all the way to the floor. So it's still building
wow.
stuff. Still alive. All right. And calcite that's where you get most of these formations from. The mineral that's the most abundant in this cave. And right underneath our feet right now is a river, a small river flowing toward the north that way.
Okay.
So let's head on out. Watch your head on the way out. He's been pretty good about lighting up some of these side tunnels too, where he's dug and checked it out for gold. Colorado Springs. Is it snowing there yet? Not yet.
Actually, the wife said that they're expected to have snow while I'm gone.
Really? That's cool. Now, these are scattered all through the tunnels.
Okay.
And I thought they were painted on here, but they weren't. Back in the early 1900s, they didn't have electricity, of course. They had torches, and they'd paint these on with the soot, point them toward the entrance, so they knew the way out of here. You'll see them scattered all through here. This is a pretty spot.
Wow.
Do you know the difference between stalactites and stalagmites?
Yeah, stalactite is against the ceiling, and stalagmite is the ones on the ground.
That's right. That's good. And when one grows into the other, we call it a column. That's one right there. Floor to ceiling, there's a big one back there. And a little bitty one right there. And all kinds of them through out there.
Yep.
And you see these little stalactites? Do you know what you call those? Soda straws.
Soda straws, yeah.
Because they're hollow on the inside. And water drips down through them. And then just before they drip, they leave a little mineral ring. And that's how they grow. And they can grow real long, too. These are sort of short. All right, so let's head on down. Not much dripping going on right now. It's real quiet. I'll walk up here and then check out this area. This is called the Land of 1,000 Lakes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see.
Because
The
they have
pools.
all these indentations. And during the wet season, we're talking March through May, and then in the fall we get another wet season. These things fill up with water, so they pool up, and the water cascades over these little mesas, basically. Almost looks like an Arizona and New Mexico landscape.
It does.
And it cascades over this edge too, and it falls down onto this piece of concrete. And that's just mineral buildup.
Yep.
This piece of concrete was put here in the 1940s,
Oh.
and he's left it to show y'all that it would take it about 80 plus years just to get this sprayed on glitter look.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And eventually it will just
Yeah,
flow over it.
it'll be like a big old stalagmite or a big rock sitting down here years from now.
So,
Thousands.
so you said the springtime is when these pools are
When-
at their.
When the rain's really coming in,
Okay.
like it's raining at least once a week,
Okay.
and the drips are coming down from the sodas and the cracks that are in here too.
So is that one, this bigger one that kind of looks like a volcano? Was it broken off, or?
It has a little pool in the top of it,
Okay.
so it gets the same thing.
Neat.
And this is another good place to show you more fossils. See?
Oh yeah.
These are crinoid stems. And see the ones that look like little Cheerios, the little circles with a hole in them? They're called crinoid buttons. And the Indians used to pluck them off and make necklaces and bracelets out of them. They're scattered all in there too. They thought this one was extinct too. And then they found one down in the ocean about 80 feet or so.
Oh.
And they took a picture of it, and there's a copy of that picture hanging on our wall by the fireplace. Crinoid. That was a tough one to remember. It looks like a big old fern plant with hairy fingers, but it's an animal. Now this tunnel is called the peanut butter tunnel. You see how it's drying up, it's starting to crack. But usually it's just like wet, muddy puddles of silt down in there.
Is that what the blocks are for, to
Yeah,
get across?
to get across it. Usually there's maybe even standing water down in there.
Wow.
But it hasn't, I mean, it's been real dry. We're still not dressed for that one today. So I'm going to show you later on where this one ends up.
Okay.
We're walking down into the council room. I'm going to check out back this way too. Back here is a maze tunnel. And see how it's rounded on the ceilings and in the walls? Probably made by running water. And this one goes in this way and comes out way around over there,
Oh wow.
around this big rock wall. And this is video equipment because they show movies here on the weekend. They put a big screen up right here, and then people come in with their lawn chairs, about 50 folks or so.
And they come in from that way?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool.
Watch a movie. They're showing Beetlejuice tonight. Last week it was Ghostbusters. The week before Hocus Pocus. And this is the council room. This is the big room where the conquistadors came to camp. Right here. A few things to point out. Just a few. That's called the jellyfish wall right there. Because it looks like a big bunch of jellyfish. But also it's like looking at the clouds. You can see all kinds of things in these formations. Maybe a big dragon head. And that's a sand castle. And a white candle. See how the soda straws are white up above too?
Yeah, that one's really white.
Yeah, it is. And that's a unicorn horn or spiral column. And there's the iguana, or a little garden gnome with a pointy hat and bug eyes.
Yeah, I see that.
And that's an actual campsite right there. But it's not old enough to be the conquistadors' campsite. Back in the early 1900s, and this is after the old man had left the area, a man named George Dunbar came into the cave. And he found 2 gold coins and a gold bracelet. And he was hooked. He came and lived in the cave for years trying to find the gold. So we're going to head down in here and I'll tell you some more about George Dunbar and the council room. And it's the tallest formation we'll see in this whole known tour area. And it'll be a while before it's a column, but it's still working on it. And way in the back, at the very top of this incline, is a set of maze tunnels that go in different directions. And back here, Paul found a 100-year-old whiskey bottle, and it's in that display case as you walk in on the left. He knew it was 100 years old because it was stamped with a date. So that's called the whiskey tunnel dig up there. And there's a whole lot of other man-made things that he's found in the cave in different places that are in that display case. And in 1908, George Dunbar got together with a couple of guys in the next little town and opened up a mining operation. So called the Sulphur Springs Cave Company. And so they used to have donkeys that pulled ore carts. That's the set of ore cart wheels all along these small gauge rails, going all through these tunnels, digging them out. And for whatever reason, as they dug all this mud and rocks out of these tunnels, they deposited all that mud and rocks in this room. So they built this up, they built this floor up. They never mined anything out of this cave. They just used it as a cover for the treasure hunt to keep the interest of the locals to a minimum.
Okay.
And Paul and Tracy were told those were the only rails left, that they had pulled up all the rails and sold them for scrap iron in the 30s when they went broke. Then they came in doing some maintenance with a metal detector and they found more rail. They got pretty excited. They thought they found gold. And they found rail. See how it gets a little deeper as it goes out?
Yep.
Deeper and heading toward that tunnel. And this one winds off and heads toward that one. Well, they stopped digging about a year and a month ago. A year ago, September, Paul had a friend of his that came in with ground penetrating radar. And he's never done that before because it's pretty expensive. Now, Paul's on this cave for 28 years, and he was 25 when he bought it. Wow. So that's why he's a fairly young guy. You met him a few minutes ago. Anyway, so they got together and mapped out all kinds of rails still under our feet. And it goes about 10 or 12 foot into that tunnel over there.
Wow.
So it's all underneath us. And he found something else, something he wasn't expecting.
So this all just naturally filled in over the rail?
No, it's not naturally. It's from pulling the mud and stuff out of here. Now, as they were doing it, those steps might not have been there at that point. So it would have been sort of crazy just to take it on out. So they just used this. And they didn't have to go with this rail down this tunnel anymore. And these were the ones they were digging out, I guess. I mean, that's only a guesstimation, because I don't know for sure, but they did. They filled this rim in with all the mud, clay. And he found this over here too. It was covered up. I'm still trying to figure out what this one is. It's a solid piece of cubic concrete, 6 foot long, 2 foot wide. There's 4 rebars sticking out. That one broke off, or bowls.
And also it would be around from 1920s?
Yeah, probably so. Just about the same time as the steps.
In a mine, this would have like an air compressor.
Counterweight of some sort. And see, there's some kind of rust lines along the edges too. And first time I saw it, I said sarcophagus, but I was wrong. It's solid and there's nothing underneath it. That's what the radar told him. And he's got a date with a mining museum somewhere in Missouri to see if he can get us something from the archives that tells us what this is, hopefully. As a matter of fact, he ran this wire years ago between that box and that box they used to hit the lights. And he only dug it that deep because he thought he was hitting rock. And then he found this thing last year. Now remember me telling you about hole in the ceiling that made the natural chimney.
Yes.
It's back there. See?
Oh, okay.
Holes in the ceiling, and you see the soot stain?
Yes, sir.
And there's smoke stains all through those walls. And Paul went and plugged this up so no little animals or people could fall through.
Mm.
And right now we're 60 feet underneath the side of the mountain. We stayed fairly flat coming in. We went up a little bit, down steps a little bit, but flat for the most part. But as we've walked in, the mountains have gone up. So in a little while, I'm going to show you a place where we double that. And we'll be 120 feet under.
Wow.
So we're heading down this tunnel, and it's a horseshoe shape. So we'll come out over here behind me.
Mm.
So let's head on in. This is a natural rock bridge, which is sort of rare in caves too. We call this Hope Rock because we hope it stays up here. So far so good. But it is pretty cool to look back too at the natural bridge, looking into the council room. That'll be a good shot. And that's Ponce and Fernando right there. He actually named them on Facebook.
Oh.
Leftover Halloween things. And this is that natural spring I was going to show you. You can see standing water in the very back there. But it's quiet as a church mouse right now. During the wet season, in the early spring, this thing is as loud as a wide open fire hydrant. I can barely talk over it. I just point and it talks back at us for the most part. And because this is a horseshoe-shaped tunnel, I'll be able to show you this from the other side too. So we're going to walk down here, and this is where the rails actually were pulled up. You can see how it's squared off. How would you like to look for gold with lantern light only?
It'd be difficult. A challenge.
Torches, yeah, something.
Well,
Yeah.
torches, then you're dealing with the smoke, so
Yeah.
it can be hard.
It's true. Did I tell you how much gold they think is in here?
No, sir.
They did research back in the 40s and 50s with the ledgers, and they found it was a stack of gold bars, a stack of gold statuary, and 3 chests of gold coins. They estimated at about $40 million
Wow.
back then. And this is a place called the Symbols area. And Paul has pretty high confidence that the gold is buried back here. Now the story with this is there's a natural waterfall back here. And there was a bad drought, severe drought, about 12 years ago. So the water levels went down in the wet rooms. So he found a place he could tunnel through the falls. So he went through and he found 2 rooms behind the falls. And on the back side of one of the rooms, carved in the rock like this right here, were 3 symbols. A candy cane shape, an eyeball, and 3 squiggly lines over the eyeball. Well, they got pretty excited, did some research, and thinks this means turn around and look under the water. So he looked in the direction of the eye, found another seam at the back of that room, scoped it out, found another room behind it, down and behind it, with a long pool of water. So as he's digging through this caliche, rocky clay to get to that room, he's finding old rotten wood down here where there's no natural wood. So somebody had been back there too. But before he could get to that room, started raining for weeks and filled these rooms back up with water. So in the meantime, he's built a wall and he's working on a walkway. And he's going to have this open to the public pretty soon.
Okay.
And the Discovery Channel people have been back here doing a segment. And there's a link to that on his regular website. And he's got it on the registry now as an archaeological site. Hopefully he's trying to get it on historical, but that's a little tougher because you have to know who carved the symbols and why they do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if he finds the gold back here, he's got his story.
Right.
All right.
Hmm.
And he does all kinds of updates and videos. This isn't the only project he's got going on, of course, in this whole cavern. There's so many of these side tunnels. But it's fun to watch them because you can get a lot more into the details than you can in a 1 hour tour.
Right.
So if you call it Old Spanish Treasure Cave, Sulphur Springs, Arkansas, you can get there on any of those platforms. They're fun to watch.
I'll do that.
All right. There's another arrow.
Oh, yep.
Now it's not pointing toward the entrance,
No.
but maybe the guy knew it was a horseshoe-shaped tunnel. It's possible. Because there's another arrow right there pointing that way.
Hmm.
Now this tunnel is called the 16-mile tunnel, and there's actually standing water back there.
Okay.
Now this one they don't really think goes 16 miles, but it does. It branches off into several directions, and there's one of them that you get on your belly and you crawl about 12 feet or so,
Mm-hmm.
and then it opens up into a 35-foot tall cannon tunnel when it's round on top.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
we haven't seen any 35-foot tall cannon tunnels. Let's head on up this way. Flip the lights first. As we walk through this one, he's been real good about lighting up some of these side tunnels that he's found. Just imagine him with a 5-gallon bucket and a military type shovel digging till he hits solid rock. And then
Wow.
that dig is over. Now this one is sort of crazy. You got this little cannon tunnel thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then walk up this way and see how far back that thing goes.
Oh, wow.
And it goes and goes, and then it crooks on down.
Mm-hmm.
He's still looking. This one light works half the time. Watch your head on the way in here. It's got a little lip on it.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And you want to look straight up.
Oh, wow.
There's your heart of the cave right there. I think y'all were talking about that place. Heart of the cave, and this one I'll give you a cave kiss. It drips about once every 2 minutes or so. And that's a flow stone over there. Like, looks like a frozen waterfall or a pipe organ. And right here, we're 1/3 of a mile into the cave. Now we'll walk 1/3 of a mile out. This is as far in as we
Okay.
go. But here, you want to take this flashlight or I'll shine it for you. There you go. See how far back it goes?
Yes, it goes really far. A big room,
Yeah, it is.
possibly.
And this one too.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's neat.
And he's checking both these out still. Now we walked 1/3 of a mile in, but Paul has mapped out about 7 or 8 miles of this cave, including all the maze tunnels, including the wet rooms now.
Mm.
Now he's a certified diver. So he's been into some of those. He's been into the lake and the river. And so he's looking for ways to solve that problem about the water in where the gold is too. And he's working on or thinking about what's your head over there out here?
Yep.
Some kind of underwater drone with a metal detector on it. Possibly. But he's got to get that into the budget. It's got to be an expensive situation. And this was a cool place last year. The water was just pouring through these two holes and coming down here, and it was washing over this thing, and then it fell in.
Oh.
It made it into a waterfall and filled in this little ditch you dug. It usually drains the water out this way. You can see that it's a lot lower down that way,
Yes.
but it's filled in now a little. We'll have to do some redigging. All right. And that little ditch sort of filled it in right here too. But it goes on down to where that symbols area is, because that's a natural low spot. And right here, we're at the top or the bottom of the horseshoe
Okay.
part of this tunnel. And now we're standing, we're 120 feet underneath the side of the mountain standing
Wow.
here. All right. And there's a formation. Sort of looks like the bottom of a ship or a boat.
Oh yeah.
And it's here where these two big crags come together. It's just natural formations. So we're gonna head down this way now, this tunnel. And here you can see where the donkey miners shaved off this mud and made it wide enough to where they could put the rail in. Now this shows 56, 58 degrees year round. No matter what, I've seen icicles out front still be 56 back here. And I've seen 100 degrees out front still be 56 too, which I like a lot. Ooh, ooh. Hear the echo? They think that behind this seam in the wall is another huge room, one no man is there, no person has ever seen before, and that's why they dug that hole back there.
Okay.
They were trying to get through to it, but they hit solid rock. So you can put your nose up to this thing and make that low hum sound. And it'll vibrate. You can hear them all the way from the porch. If you get it just right. Yeah. Ooh, like that. And then that echo goes on another 40 or 50 feet. So they call this the megaphone tunnel.
Wow.
But someday they're going to get through there. And the radar guy was back here with Paul, and he planted 2 or 3 flags along this way for spots he thinks he might be able to get through. There's another one right there. Here's another column, and that's called popcorn formations. So it looks like old dirty popcorn. There's some of those little soda straws. And this is a cool part of the tunnel because look at this ceiling. I mean, it doesn't even look natural. Looks like it's poured concrete, but nope. That's natural. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, still echoing. That looks like a sort of a natural burrow. Maybe some organic looking stuff in there. And Tracy's the one that told me about this. She said she went down through there and had to get herself almost in a U shape to make it through. And she didn't find the bigger room. She did find enough room to turn around and come back. But notice the echo's gone too. It stops right there at that little corner.
Okay. Interesting.
But in the really wet season, you can hear running water through there too, which is real cool. And you can hear running water right here too. Because that's the other side of that natural spring right there. See the black water line?
Oh, yeah.
And if I drop the light, you can see the light from the other side
Oh,
of the tunnel.
yep.
And this other side is a big old natural shelf. Big old rock shelf. Those aren't stalagmites, those are rock molars hanging down. And see how far back it goes.
Oh, yeah.
But it's so wavy, you can't see. But it goes around that way and around that way. All right, watch out for this rock. It's a little slick when it's wet. There you go. That'll be pretty good. All right. There's another arrow pointing in the right direction, so we're heading right. Here's another maze tunnel. See how far back it goes.
Wow.
And it's got standing water because that's rock floor. We hadn't seen rock floors much going through here. But this one is. And see how it's a natural drain. That's where it goes down into the wet room. There and there.
Wow.
And we end up back in the council room with Paul way up there trying to set up a big screen. Maybe we'll watch a movie. Nah. You have any questions?
No more questions. It's interesting. It's a big room.
Yes, it is. Let's see these little track-looking things.
Yeah.
They're not really tracks. They're places where the
droplets.
kisses. Yep, and it washes off all the rocks that show.
So it means there's a lot of archaeological stuff underneath this floor with the tracks.
It's possible. Alright. So we're gonna head out the same way we came in, up the steps and down the tunnel. But I have one more room to show you.
Okay.
It's called
When were the steps put in?
Probably in the 40s. The original ones are right there beside you. They've got a bunch of stacked up rocks.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I ever told you that, did I?
No. I figured it was 30s or 40s, huh?
Yep.
Usually cave cricket. Big old lanky looking things. So there's a lot of them around today. Another cave cricket. Well, there's that peanut butter tunnel. I'll show you where that one comes from. So we'll see that in just a second. There it goes. Goes way back there. Sort of followed us up the path. That's the peanut butter tunnel.
Huh.
So it goes way down there where Paul was standing just about.
Wow.
And comes out there. And if you sat down right there, you'd slide all the way to the bottom. And this is called the Enchanted Forest. And you can walk up to the rail.
Wow.
See all kinds of formations. And it's also, you see that room down below?
Yes,
That's
sir.
the first room we were in.
Oh.
Down there. So you can't see the veil from up here, and you can't see the forest from down there, but it's all one big room.
So we're looking at what, 300 million years or?
Before the dinosaurs, I'm not sure, that was 66 plus, I guess, million years ago. So yeah, way before the dinosaurs.
That's cool.
All right.
Wow.
Whoa. slick real quick. If you put your foot into these rough areas, you get pretty good traction. It's slick on there. Back in the 50s and 60s, the Civil Defense Department turned this into a fallout shelter.
Okay.
So there were a lot more of these cans, and they weren't empty then, but they were full of medicines and something stamped on the bottom of that one called survival biscuits. They're hardtack crackers is what they were. And any little town that was close by would come here in case of a nuclear attack, which never happened, thank goodness.
Oh, thank goodness. But
It may never have helped
I don't know, living in a cave would be a good
Yeah.
alternative either.
No, survival biscuits being your only food source would not have been.
So did they also do the drums of stuff too, or just these?
Just these cans.
Okay.
And one of those cans would hold, like, I'm thinking he said 12 or maybe, sounds right, 12 or 24 of those packages of crackers. And there's some of those medicines and crackers in that display case
Okay.
as you walk in. So you want to use this wall to get down
Yes, sir.
to the rail and watch your step. Just be careful.
Yeah, out west in the mines, they put a lot of big barrels of water and supplies, medicines, and food for
Oh, just in the big
well,
old mines.
in the middle of nowhere. So you wonder, like, well, why would anyone think about going there? You know.
Yeah.
But I guess it was a weird time in history
Oh,
where
yeah, it was pretty bad. They told us to jump underneath the desk and cover our heads, which probably wouldn't have helped a lot either.
made you feel good then.
Yeah, we went through. I remember doing drills. Crazy. So that's a sword blade they found.
Oh.
This is a replica.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's not real in here are mining operation things and some kind of harness thing. That's a head of a panther. It was part of a whole statue we found.
Oh, wow.
And there he is with the Discovery Channel people. That's him on the far right, Paul. And you saw him again in the
So
cave.
that was 2019.
Yep. There's a 100-year-old whiskey bottle. And there's the medicines and the survival biscuits. And they thought this was a necklace. And then they found out from the Discovery Channel people that it's actually a cloak holder
Oh.
to hold cloaks. And then right on top of that tin lamp is the only arrowhead they found in there. Paul says he found it in the council room.
Hmm.
So there might be a whole lot more underneath it too, underneath the mud.
Cool. I just finished with the Old Spanish treasure cave here in Arkansas. It's just down the road from the Bluff Dwellers Cave that I did yesterday. That's in Missouri. It's hard to remember where exactly I'm at when you're so close to a state line. But I would say this cave, the Old Spanish treasure cave, is better. Not a lot better, but it's a little bit better than the Bluff Dwellers Cave. Although I enjoyed the Bluff Dwellers Cave, so it's worth the money to go see. I just love how this one is really, really like at-home atmosphere. You know, you got the guy that owns the cave that is digging parts of the cave right here doing things. I talked to him this morning, and then the tour guide Bill was awesome. So Paul is the owner. Awesome guy. Bill, the tour guide, was awesome. Showed us around. He has it nailed down to showing you everything like a tour guide should be, and it was awesome. So thumbs up on the experience, the atmosphere, the knowledge that they were able to give. Got here early, so it was just me on the tour. So it was like a personal tour for, I think a cash price was like $22, $23 or something like that. I think if you pay by card, it's like $25. They give you a little savings there just to pay by cash. So bring cash. They also do movie night here. I didn't really get the details of that, so you might want to look into bringing your children here and doing a movie night. I think tonight they're showing Beetlejuice, the original, which is the best one in my opinion, and that's something they do in the cave. I guess there's a whole history of natives coming and I guess there's a lot of history here with conquistadors possibly hiding treasure in this cave. I'm going to have to research this more because this isn't something I knew that I think it was the Discovery Channel came out and did, and I don't know. I'm going to have to look all that up. So I would advise you to type in Old Spanish Treasure Cave and see what's out there on YouTube already, because I think there's going to be a lot out there talking about this, and I don't know, just a cool experience. It's cool that they're actively still finding things, finding tracks, digging areas, and it's just an active cave. I did ask if he ever does like tours into like the non-guided area, and at this time, no, but you never know. Maybe in the future he will, so that's always a possibility. He just said he's really busy right now with so many projects, so many little discoveries that he just doesn't have time, because I think it would be him that takes you around in something like that. And I would love to do something like that, to get into a little more remote areas with a guy that's an expert that could show you around and still be safe, knows what is safe to do and not do with people. So I would actually trust the guy. So I like this cave a lot. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Sorry these are so long because, well, I like to show the whole cavern, because you never know what the future holds for places like this. Hopefully it's around for many, many more years, but you just never know. So we have it documented. Here's the cave, here's the tour. This is at least what I could see from a tour aspect, and that's cool, right? It's documented out there, it's history, it's there for everyone to see in the future when I'm long gone even. Hopefully the internet in some form or fashion is still around, and the information's out there for everyone to view and digest. So y'all take care, stay well, stay safe, my friends. Have a good one. Bye.